Could you read the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have the roll call.
Yes, Chair Carhart.
Here.
Vice Chair Tamani. Here. Director Mount.
Here.
Director Irwin and Director Otero are absent.
They're both excused. Okay, we have a presentation, the year in review. Is that you, Nick?
It is. It's a joint effort, but yes.
Okay, you're presenting though, you're on.
All right.
This looks like String Park here.
It is. So good evening, board directors. Nick Davison, Recreation Manager. If you recall, last year we started doing a year in review publication that we provide to you and the community through different channels such as our website and social media to highlight some things that we achieved throughout the year. So this is our 2023 year in review. It will be a joint presentation between me and the other departments here. We're just going to highlight a few things that are highlighted in the publication there. So for recreation, we had over 30 events occur in 2023 with over 24,000 event attendees. And we kind of had a focus on trying to integrate the smaller parks, the neighborhood parks, to kind of activate those a little bit more. We did that through some Halloween themed events there. So a great year for events. Youth camps, we saw over 200 campers in our camps combined throughout the year for summer and break camps, and equivalent to 14,746 hours of camps combined throughout the year. Our camps have been doing really, really well, and kudos to staff for just providing a good outlet for kids when they're not in school. Facility and athletic rentals. So we've had 300 plus rental contracts that have occurred in 2023, and that's not just 300 rentals, that's contracts. So those contracts could have multiple dates spanning throughout the year on them. So we've really seen an uptick in our rentals, and a lot of that's due to streamlining the process and making it really easy for the customer to do it all kind of from their fingertips. So on their phone or computer, and then of course we need extra assistance over there to help them. So we've had staff dedicated to that too. So great year for recreation. I'm now going to pass it on to Sean for park maintenance.
All righty. Very quickly.
Thank you.
Took the wind right out of my sails. I got to click it twice though. Good evening, Board of Directors. Sean Ventura, Parks and Facilities Manager. Just have a couple of items on here. It's tough for parks sometimes to come up with really celebratable stuff because you don't often celebrate mowing your lawn. That's kind of what we do out there. What we did do that I think really deserves highlight, apart from the stuff in your board packet, is the irrigation improvements. We've got new irrigation controllers installed at Farrows Park. This is following the previous year's new irrigation controllers at Phoenix Park. Again, this was a rebate program through the Regional Water Authority to bring our controllers up to this century. We now are able to access them remotely. So if there are large irrigation rates or anything like that, it pops up on our phone, even if it's 1 in the morning, which is a really fun phone call to get. But it's super useful and it saves us a lot of money and saves a lot of water. We did work with tree maintenance throughout all of the parks. What we're highlighting here is just around the playgrounds. As you know, in the beginning of January last year, we had some pretty heavy storms. We saw a lot of trees come down, but we've always been cautious about limbs around playgrounds. But we wanted to highlight that we went through all of our playgrounds and pulled potentially hazardous limbs away from where kids are playing. And that's just an ongoing thing, but we really hit hard on this last year. On top of that, beginning of last year, we installed shade structures at the Phoenix Bike Park, the Farrows Bike Park, and Phoenix Dog Park. That was a pretty long process. Happy that it got done. We're getting a lot of enjoyment out of those. And that's pretty much it.
I have a couple questions. On the tree maintenance, do we do that with our staff, or do we contract that out, or a little of both?
little bit of both. The big tree over at Gum Ranch, really, really big over the road. We don't have a saw large enough to cut those limbs. That sort of stuff is contracted out. The smaller things we can get to with our bucket truck, so 30 feet tall or so, that's the sort of stuff we can get in staff. And we've got ongoing training for that, so they're not just hacking away at things. We competent with the skill set of my crew.
And then we have our own chipper and we mulch all that.
Oh, yes.
And then on the shade structures, did your staff construct those?
Nope, that was all contracted.
Was there any construction by the dog park people or the bike park people?
No, they're like the new shade structure we're putting in over here, over by, I believe, the Rotary Arbor. Over by the playground. These are fairly tall. They're 20 feet tall shade structures. The footings for that go down nearly as far, a little bit outside of our expertise. So we contracted that out to the vendor at that point who subcontracted the actual.
Thank you.
But I'll be good for you.
Hi, Jen Schuler, Arts and Entertainment Manager. I should be relatively quick because I haven't been here for a whole year yet, so we might not have a whole lot to go over. But first up, the garden dinner that happened last May, the inaugural garden dinner for the arts that was put on largely by all of the staff here. So huge success there. Lots of great feedback from people that attended, as well as people that helped do it. As I'm starting to plan for the next one, and it did generate about $6,000 in revenue. So that was super exciting, and I just personally want to, thank all of the staff that helped put that on last year as well. So since I wasn't here, so yeah. And then, actually, secondly, most of my focus has been the facilities operational plan. So, kind of starting to generate a plan that will detail like facilities rental procedure, overall staffing programming, community outreach, and community partnerships, all with the effort to essentially connect with our residents here in Fair Oaks as well as Greater Sacramento area, start to generate excitement for what we're going to do over there, and then connect with our partners that we already have, as well as finding new ones that we can bring into the village here in this space. And then lastly, the foundation. So hopefully we'll get that done here soon. So we're merging Fair Oaks Recreation and Parks Foundation with the Fair Oaks Foundation for Leisure and the Arts. We're continuing to work on that merger. We have it coming up, I think, in this meeting as well. So hopefully here soon we will have that all kind of squared away, fingers crossed. But yeah, that's all my updates. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Are we planning to do another garden dinner or event?
We are. Actually, we're in the process of planning and putting together the committee for that. The date will be a bit different. It'll be the 18th of May, but at the same place in the Horticultural Center for the Arts and for the garden. The center, sorry. Words. So, yes, thank you. I don't know who's next. Who's next?
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Larkin, the Administrative Services Manager. And this year, I just did some really amazing stuff. We did implement QuickBooks as our financial accounting system. That was a huge project. That was several years in the making. So we got it in place this year, and we're continuing with it. Ian and some of the rec staff worked on a website redesign, a refresh of our current website. That was a large project, and it was great, and they did a great job. And then we went back to printing our activity guide. As you know, that's a great marketing tool for us, and I think being able to print it this year, having the budget for that has been a great return to our whole process. So. We also implemented a couple of other things that are on here. One was that we started using a system called Lumini to manage social media. That has nothing to do with me, but it's an administrative function. And then we started using a ticketing management system for our marketing, meaning that people put in tickets to our marketing person now, and it's very professional, and it helps streamline his workload. So those are some of the things that we've done.
Will that ticketing be extended when we open up our new facility system?
This is more of a ticketing for internal use. So if we have something that we need to be marketed, we can send a ticket and he'll work on it.
Like a work order.
Yeah, like a work order.
Yeah. And whoever did all the graphic layout and the planning for the route was well done. It was very efficient. And we were certainly happy to see that back in the mail.
Sabrina?
Yes, Brina did all that, absolutely. And we're looking to have a new refresh design as we move forward too. We continue to try to make it appeal to all audiences and get our point across more efficiently and effectively. So you should see a new refresh design as we move forward. Some statistics here. Pretty much nothing real crazy to go over here. Just 132 plus volunteers that we had. We had 2,058 participants in our program throughout the year, which was pretty significant. 20 Fair Oaks advisory boards, and there's some statistics there on our social media and web clicks. So, lastly, here I want to share a few awards that we won at the Best of Fair Oaks, Best Recreation, and then Best Children Activity Center, Best Event of the Year, which was Chicken Festival, and favorite park in Fair Oaks. Fair Oaks Park was voted best.
We had a lot of competition on that.
We have a lot of competition on that one. But yeah, we look forward to a great 2024 year and come back this year to share all the stuff that we did. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, Bob, well done. Okay, at this point in the agenda, we have the opportunity for audience public comment on non-agenda items, and any person may address the board on any subject within the jurisdiction of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District, and each speaker is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Any matter requiring board action will be referred to staff or committee for a report and action at a subsequent meeting. Understand, Barbara Beck, you'd like to speak?
I guess I'm supposed to stand back here.
Yeah.
See my camera. So last month I couldn't attend because I had a cold, so I watched it on live. And Leon Corcos asked one of the board members about Sailor Bar, and it was the gentleman on the far corner that responded, and I couldn't zoom in to catch the name, so I'm not sure who that was. I thought it was Mr. Irwin, but I'm not sure. I sent him an email right away and asked him, what are you doing at Sailor Bar? Because he mentioned that he was working with Desmond and Rich and Liz Bellis. And so I never got a response, so I forwarded it to Mike. And Mike said, you guys aren't working on anything at Sailor Bar, but I clearly heard him say that he was working on something at Sailor Bar. So I'd like to know what that is, and I'd like to, also find out what the board thinks. There's a group that is protesting them opening the interior gravel roads, and I'd like to know what your position is on that.
Well, we don't have an official position on that, but Mike, would you like to address? I think there was some talk about Mike.
Well, yeah, so I can probably address that. So Director O'Farrell and myself met with Desmond multiple times about multiple issues.
Okay.
For the record, Sailor Bar is not our jurisdiction. That is county.
I understand.
Fair Oaks Park has, or Fair Oaks Parks and Rec has nothing to do with that. But we have talked about is potentially creating a partnership with the county to open up the park at the bottom of Olive, which used to be a beautiful park, riverfront park in that little green area.
Okay.
So we've had some ongoing discussions about that. We've also partnered up with them to refurbish the flag.
The flagpole, yeah.
The flagpole. So if you've noticed that, it's Randy flags. We had Sacramento Metro Fire out there with their ladder truck, install new flags, paint everything, put a nice lanyard up there. As far as opening up the roads, that is not our jurisdiction. We have no say in how that goes. And I don't think anything has happened as of yet, but I know they plan on it.
They plan on it, even though we keep asking them not to do it. It seems like they're, moving forward anyway, that there's on our website where we have a petition, there's over 1,600 signatures of people saying, please don't do that, because there's nesting herons at the end of one of the streets they want to open up. And, we've got all that, the salmon, they just did that a couple years ago. The all the gravel for the salmon. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Between Olive and Illinois is less than a mile. You can park at either lot and be in the middle in 15 minutes. And as far as accessibility for people that have mobility issues, if you park on that gravel road, where are you gonna go? Because it's like cobbles down to the river, so so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to us why they're really wanting to open those roads, and we can't get a really good answer for that. But I wanted to make sure like you guys weren't for that. It sounds like it's just other little projects, but not opening those roads.
Yeah, we don't have an official stance. I mean, it's not our jurisdiction. It's not our call. I mean, we could oppose it all we wanted to or support it all we wanted to, and
Right.
the decision would be the same.
Well, I mean, you obviously have a voice and an ear to the people who are making the decisions to do that, so.
Now, the county parks commission would be probably the one to,
They are the one. We have been talking to Liz Dallas about it
Yeah.
for over a month. And we made a group of us, about 60 attended their commission meeting, and they were very sympathetic, but then they said, we're just an advisory committee and we have no say, so it's up to Liz. So, like, what?
do you know who was supposed to be making the decision on opening or not opening
Liz Bellis, she's the head of the Sacramento County Parks.
parks? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, that's where to continue your discussions then.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going that way, but since I heard that, I was like, well, let me find out, maybe there's something we don't know about that they're trying to introduce, but it doesn't sound like it.
I think we gave up that Sailor Bar back
In 1972, I read it on your history. I listened to your history and I saw that you traded it for South Park, the next park.
Biggest travesty that our district probably ever did.
Well, the second one was giving them the Fair Oaks Bluff, which they wanted to fence off right after we gave it to them.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else online, Ian? No. Okay, well, then we'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any questions or issues on the consent calendar?
I did not see any.
Care to make the motion? Oh, are you good?
Don't wait, right.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. And a couple of us, I don't need to ask for extension. Okay. So now on the items, 7, topic 7. We need a motion to convene the Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation meeting without adjourning the board of directors meeting. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, foundation business is approval of an updated Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation, updated Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation Board bylaws. We have a staff report on that.
Good evening again, Board of Directors, Jen Schuler, Arts and Entertainment Manager. So this is about seeking approval to submit these edited bylaws to the district's attorney. These bylaws were initially presented to the board in January's meeting, and there were a few suggestions for some additional considerations, mainly the amount of Fair Oaks Recreation and Parks District board members to sit on this foundation board. We have now suggested that 1 to 2 members sit on this board, being selected from our current board of directors. All other members of the foundation board will be selected by the Fair Oaks Foundation of Leisure and the Arts, or FOFLO. Lots of Fair Oaks district words in there, so sorry, it gets a little muddled. But these edits were reviewed by the Community Resource Committee, which recommended that the board approve the revision of bylaws. Were approved. That's pretty much all I have. So.
And John and I, as a committee for, as our committee, policy and
Community resource.
community resources. Okay, very good.
I look it up.
We take that around and talked about it, and we've approved this that you have in your board package. And have you had a chance to read it?
I read it, and I don't have any problems with the edits made to the bylaws. The thing that I do want to share with my board members and I shared with staff prior to the board meeting is that before I noted in the bylaws, there's discussion of how an annual report is supposed to be generated every year, which would talk about like expenditures and essentially it would be the financials of the foundation. And I would like us to look at those before we do the trains, like move the funds from our foundation to that foundation, just to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. I would like to look at the annual report. I had asked Mike if that had been shared with him yet, I had not.
So we probably should flag that to the attorney to look at that.
Yeah, and if it's okay, what I can do, is I can let the attorney know that as well, but bring that back to you before you vote to, at the vote to dissolve, if you will, you make your final decision. Go through the bylaw piece and then, actually I'll ask for the finances before. If I see a big red flag, I'll hold back on the issuing it to the attorneys and bring it back to you. But if I don't see a huge red flag, I'll go ahead and continue down this pathway. And before you vote to dissolve, we'll provide that information to you, if that's acceptable.
I just want to make sure that they're following the rules they have set out for themselves in past years.
I think it would be helpful maybe to go back a few years and just kind of benchmark and see the ups and downs of what goes in and out. So that way we have at least a benchmark going forward.
And it would show us how the funds are managed and that sort of thing too. I think that would be
So I'll get those before, if it's all right, I'll get those before I send it to the attorney and review them, just as a cursory review again, and then we'll share with you at the board meeting when we bring this back to you, which could be a few months from now.
Would you like, what's the process for that? Would you have
They have to submit to the Secretary of State.
No. I mean, before we send it over to.
Nothing. It's going to go to FOFLA first to review the bylaws and see if they have any edits, changes, and then it's going to go to the attorney for a final draft.
To which attorney?
Our
says
attorney.
it last. Our says it last.
Yeah, and that's what we're asking for in the staff report too, estimating a cost of about $1,500 to $2,500 for that review.
So when we approve this, there may be some, it's going to be sent to FOFLA for their attorney's review. That's the next step.
Yes, it's going to go to FOFLA. If they send it to their attorney, I'm not sure, but
We'll send it.
we
to FOFLA.
have to go to our attorney. Yes.
So those concerns that Belinda has can be transmitted along with when we send this, along with some of those other concerns. I mentioned.
The wordsmithing, yeah.
Yeah, some wordsmithing to make sure that our board appoints the representatives and that they serve only as long as their current term of office, the 4-year term, because it was a little nebulous the way it was. And then,
Yeah, and the attorney will draw up the proper language for that, but
I think we've batted it back and forth and we're not lawyers, so I
Right.
don't like the language, it gets funny, but if we have, I think the concept, if that's approved, then we can move forward with
Right.
it to get that wording right.
And then the other thing I discussed with Mike, I don't know who's on the existing FOFLA board, but once we turn this all over, the old FOFLA board, the original founders of FOFLA, most are as old, if not older than me, or have passed on. So it's we'll all have an interest in the community and who applies for their board or who remains on their board. And lastly, when you talked about funds, are we transferring any money to them? And if so,
yeah, that'll come up to your meeting when we bring all that final back to your meeting. And we're going to request from FOFLA, hopefully you will request this from FOFLA, that those monies be put into a restricted account. And that restricted account, we can continue to add to. For an example, the Rachel Ann Gray Scholarship Fund. As those funds become available additional funds become available, they'll go into a restricted account through FOBLA that can only be used for the Rachel Lamprey Scholarship.
Now, will they manage that and the,
Yes.
and the, other scholarship?
Don Rawls.
They will manage that, they will raise the money for that?
That part still is kind of has to be defined, but I'm going to guess, and Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that we'll continue to do our part to do those funds, create those funds, and those will go into that account.
So
If they opt to do another event, let's just say they decide to do a giant yard sale or something that benefited that account, that would be fine, you know. So the money would have to be designated for that account.
So, since the foundation will be out of our hands, if they wanted to at some future date eliminate those things, or even eliminate the youth advisory board, they could do that.
Not the youth advisory, that stays.
But they could, it would be incumbent upon us to have events and send them money so that they would contribute that or continue that.
Yeah. And it fits within their mission. I mean, it'd be very highly unlikely for them to say, you know, no, we're not going to do a youth scholarship.
Well, remember, we're gonna have a couple members. on
Yeah,
it.
you have a couple members.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're gonna be able to just like steamroll whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
And they do have to follow their bylaws. I mean, that is
Right.
a requirement. They can't go on and all of a sudden start supporting, you know, a foreign aid or something.
Right.
You know?
But I'm just trying to envision, as time goes on, what their main mission is not to provide the Don Rawls Scholarship to subsidize people for recreation activities, but they may see a way to do that as a subsidy for events, and performances, things like that. So it might morph, you know. Okay. So our action on this is to have a motion to approve. Back here. To authorize the district administrator to submit the draft bylaws to the FOBLA.
To the attorney. To the attorney. To our attorney.
Oh, to our attorney.
Yes, and I am submitting it to FOBLA first.
Oh, yeah, yeah. to
But
our
that
recreation.
doesn't require a board action. But for us to expend the funds on the foundation, it does require, or in behalf of the foundation, it does require a board action.
Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll move to authorize district administrators to submit the draft bylaws to the district's attorney.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Go for it. Okay, now we need a motion.
We have a motion to adjourn Thorogs Recreation Foundation meeting and reconvene the Thorogs District Board of Directors meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. In new business, the monthly Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board report.
I believe our advisory board chair is.
I'm
Oh, you're here.
It's not live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bryce Wallace. I'm the programming officer of the Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board, standing in for Navia. Couldn't make it today. Thank you for having me. Our last meeting was last Tuesday, and we have gotten pretty far into planning our Family Field Day event, which is going to be in the first week of April. It's going to consist of guided games and activities for the families. It's going to be run by supporting Parks and Rec District employees and FOIA commissioners, and all of our groups are going to volunteer for it. We're really looking forward to it. It's our first FOIA specific event after COVID. We started a collection for the $5 gift cards for Easter Extravaganza coming up from our members. Our service projects have been doing well. We had a parks cleanup event happen a couple weeks ago. We had a food bank volunteer last week, and then 2 weeks ago, we also assisted the Warrenville Grange. Our other upcoming volunteer opportunities are the Family Dance, which is happening soon, and Easter Extravaganza. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
Are the tickets for the adult Easter egg hunt already on the
I don't actually know. Yes.
What is the date of Easter this year?
It's on the 29th. Yeah, I'm planning a family vacation to make sure we make it back for Easter extravaganza. The request of my children, they're cutting our vacation short so we can go home for Easter.
Excellent.
That was,
Have
that's
good
what
weather.
they said.
We also split the iconic shows for work.
What's that?
Split the iconic for the teams too. The team.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
report.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Next, we have a Bond Oversight Committee annual report. Hey, Kim.
Yes, good evening, Board of Directors, Kim Sarkovich, Bond Oversight Committee. Tonight, what you have before you is the annual Bond Oversight Committee annual report. And we met for 4 times during the year. We reviewed the expenditures throughout the year, and then we reviewed them all at the end in December. And we picked, each one of us picked a number of expenditures, and then asked staff for the supporting documentation. And reviewed them, and we found that they're all in compliance with the bond covenants. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you for including the minutes from your meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that was, I really appreciated kind of the insight on it. It was very helpful. You're doing very good work. Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for coming out tonight to
Yes.
report that. And for serving on the board.
Oh,
Yeah.
Convey
pass
that
it on to
all the
everybody.
members. We really appreciate it. Okay, next is our mid-year budget review.
Yes. Sorry, technically. A brief presentation on where we are financially with our budget at mid-year. All right, so in your packet, you're going to see a spreadsheet with prior years and data for this current fiscal year. And so looking at the expenses for this year for our salaries and budget, salaries and benefits, our personnel costs. The district budgeted about $2.3 million. We spent about 1.3 of that, and we're about 56% expended at 58% of the year. So we are pretty much on target with prior years. You can see there, we don't project any savings this year. We did have an unexpected salary adjustment that we made mid-year, so typically we see a little bit of savings, and we may still, we do have some vacancies, unfortunately, but there won't be a lot of savings there. Next, our services and supplies. Again, you can see the past few years, we budgeted about 1.5 million. We've spent a little over half of that. That's on par with where we normally are this time of year. Again, probably not any significant savings here that I saw, at least when I was looking through the budget to actuals. There may be, it depends on whether all of our programs run, and if they don't, then we'll have some savings in our recreation services for our instructors and purchase for those. For revenue, this is our special assessments. This is our Gum Ranch, Fair Oaks, and Phoenix Field lighting and landscape districts. We budgeted about $743,000. We've collected almost 60% of that, which is in line with previous years. We can anticipate being fully collected for that by the end of this year. And then our property taxes, again, we budgeted about $2.2 million. We have just collected our first disbursement at 1.2, up 56%. We are anticipating collecting all of that as well. Maybe a little more budgeted. Our revenue from use of money and property, those are a variety of different things. That's our interest income, our facility rental revenue, and our cell tower leases. We budgeted $180,000. The increase there was from our facility rental revenue that we anticipated would be increased because we thought the construction would be completed, the time for us to have a little bit of revenue there. But despite the fact that that's not happening, we are still seeing an increase in revenue for facility rentals, so we are expecting to hit that number most likely. And that's really due to, I think, a lot of field rentals, McMillan Center rentals, unbelievably, and then picnic. And then finally, our charges for services, that's our program revenue. Oh, sorry. We have budgeted $467,000. That includes both our recreation and arts and entertainment revenue all under one umbrella now. This is only through December. We don't have January's numbers yet, so this is a little lower than it actually is. So we're about 35% collected there, which is in line with where we normally are this time of year. Most of our big programs are in spring and summer, so we'll see that number increase significantly. That is it for your budget. It's not a lot of interesting stuff, but that's good when it comes to budget, I think.
There's no big surprises.
No big surprises.
How much of the contingency has been spent so far?
No, we just spent not much.
What is that? That's 50,000. Yeah. Okay, if that's the end of that report. The next thing is the approval. Oh. You're done?
It's a receipt amount. It's all that.
Okay, very good. We don't have to make a motion, no. Okay, so, approval of the change order for 95,800 with, our architect for work related to the amphitheater and clubhouse.
Yes, thank you, board. You have requested that I bring change orders back to you that are above $7,000 for the Measure J projects. This is one of those. It's actually two different ones, but I lumped them together because it is to the same vendor. So that does break the threshold for it. The reason for this is our project obviously has been delayed. We continually need architectural services throughout this process, including just the small design changes, things like that occur throughout the project. And so WMB has requested basically 11 months extension on their work, and they anticipated for not to exceed amount of $95,800. For splitting that up, it would be $36,000 for the community clubhouse and $59,800 for Veterans Memorial Amphitheater. They attend the construction meetings. They deal with any issues that come up through inspections that require changes in the design or the implementation of that design. For an example, we had some fire intrusion issues that we had to deal with the fire inspector, and the architect came up with those. We'll actually be seeing another architectural challenge when we deal with some of the dry rots on the clubhouse windows. You'll be hearing about that probably next month, a little bit more in detail once we have those details figured out. I'm not sure how much something like that would be, but that is an additional service that the WMB would be providing us that was not initially in their scope of services. So with that, we can answer any questions.
So this is our architect's work. This will take care of the balconies on the amphitheater as well.
Yeah, that work has already been done in terms of the architectural part of it. There'll be some reviews as the work continues, but yes.
So that's already been paid for.
Yes, that piece. For example, even the water intrusion piece in the clubhouse, that has been paid for as services rendered. But that also ate up any of the contingency that was involved in that contract, initial contract with WMB. So yeah, we kind of blow through that with those other things that weren't anticipated, including the water intrusion and the roof leak inside snack bar, which was never part of the overall project. It's just when we were cleaning the equipment out of there, we realized the roof had been leaking for years. It needed to be dealt with.
So this means in total, his total billing for the project is about $720,000. It says new fee in here. That's for everything.
I don't have I don't have it in here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have that here for this full contractual amount.
Well, it says here change in architectural engineering contract fees. Original fee $535,000. Previous scope changes
Oh, yeah, it's on the.
Yeah,
sorry.
so we paid him about 720, I guess. we
Yeah.
will.
It is on
What
the-
about our landscape architects?
I don't have those figures here in front of me.
Are we thinking they're going to need to supplement theirs too?
With the road work, I would anticipate that coming.
So Mike, I see that it extends services through December 2024. I thought the way that they were paid this on a hourly basis based on who was there, and I know I've seen the chart before.
Yes.
There's different pay rates for different people. So I know that this is a fee that we're paying, but is this kind of more like a estimate type thing? And then it will be changed once there's kind of a reconciliation of like who did what?
Exactly. Every month we get that breakdown of their time and who was doing what. And then that is reviewed by our construction management firm. And then I'll review it to the extent that I can. I'm not on site every day, every moment. And then I'll review it for my extent, and then sign off on it after I've got approval from our construction manager.
Well, there are a couple of these rooms. And basically, these are not to exceed them, they'll be based on the actual buildings for the time.
Exactly. And for the record, WMB has been doing an incredible job.
They've always been just. So do we need a motion then to approve the change in project scope with the architect and authorize the administrator to sign the change?
I'll make a motion to approve the change order in the amount of $95,800 for work related to the memorial amphitheater and the community clubhouse.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is the discussion and possible action on adoption of a resolution in support of an application for Senator Padilla's fiscal year 2025 congressional directed spending request. The resolution approving the application, and that's attached here. So that's 8.5.
Yes, thank you. For 2 years ago, we also applied for these funds from Senator Padilla's office, did not get it accepted for appropriation funds. We're going to request again. We are going to hopefully request with your approval, the ADA improvements in Village Park. We're going to scale it down a bit, the application, after some review of prior awards and talking to staff in Senator's office. We determined that our ask last time was, I believe, 4.2 million. We're going to drop that down to a little more, I guess, average award type of size. We can break that apart because we do have the matching funds with Measure J, of course. And so if we get this grant from Senator Padilla's office, we will then, it'll allow us then to, if we go over the project, this will assist us. If we go under the project, it'll allow us to release funds for an example, Phoenix Park, or potentially La Vista, or other projects you may have in mind. So we don't have a dollar figure here, and it's not required that we bring you a dollar figure. You will have to approve the dollar figure later when we put the app in, but it's going to be in that range. We do have to have a resolution, though, saying you support the district applying for these funds for these purposes, and that would be, again, ADA improvements around the village area of the park. It would be the outside, not the inside of the buildings. So that's where all the ADA improvement funds would be designated.
So no new ADA improvements, just financing of what we've already committed to.
Correct.
I don't see a downside in it. Do you?
Well, just time if we get rejected again. Just an ego again.
I'll make the motion that we approve the application for Senator Alex Padilla's fiscal year 2025 congressional district spending request.
Second. We did a roll call vote on this one.
Yeah.
What's that?
I need to do a roll call vote for this.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
individually vote. So Chair Carhart,
Aye.
Vice Chair Tamani. Aye. Director Mouse.
Aye.
Director Irwin absent. Director O'Farrell absent.
Thank you. Okay. Looks like we're on to items from the Board of Directors. Anything you want to bring up?
I do not have any.
I do not have anything.
And I don't have anything either. So, the staff, you have any items to discuss?
Sean?
Sure, I wasn't planning on adding anything, but I will note that my team has been working on some stormwater flooding prevention work around the district over at Phoenix Park and over at Barrows Preschool. Been doing some pretty good work. We've had complaints from neighbors to the district in the past that I think we've avoided for this year just because of that work. And we haven't had any property damage. So I think we've been doing really good out there managing our stormwater pretty decently.
That's great, awesome. Good to know. Boy, this is one of the most quiet meetings.
Actually, yeah. So a lot of a few staff are going to CPRS conference next week. So I know we're all excited about that. It's a great learning opportunity. I'm kind of excited because I'm actually doing one of these sessions at CPRS. It was kind of the last minute addition. So looking forward to that.
What's your topic?
It's on AI and use in the apartment rec industry.
Are you going to bring the note taker with you?
I hadn't thought about that particular one, but it's an option.
Just real quickly, if you get a chance, go by Plaza Park. The pavers are going in, they're doing some accenting as well, so you'll see some of the accenting within pavers, so it's not one solid color. It's kind of neat. It's a neat project going on there, and we're inside the buildings working. We also are having some weather issues, and I'm aware of that as the weather has been challenging. We will have more information at your next board meeting. We're working through that now, but I anticipate having a little more in-depth information on how this weather is going to impact our schedule. We are meeting tomorrow with Sacramento County representatives to discuss the road paving project. We had understood the project to be a grind and overlay, and that's how it was bid out, with some of the county requirements for that road, including cross slopes and other items, including road base on it. Parts of it have turned into a road reconstruction, which was not part of the scope of our bid. So the estimation now has almost doubled for the road cost. We have budgeted our amount and under contract our amount. So we're going to meet with the county to determine how this is going to be done financially, as well as how are we possibly going to make this happen. So it's a larger project than initially anticipated through our plan approvals from the county. Now with those additional requirements, it is a rather large project. Part of this project. So we're meeting with them next week. We would love to have the road paving start in April. That would be my objective if we possibly can. Our SIPs reapproval, because we had to resubmit to our stormwater folks. That is supposed to be done March 30th, I believe, was the date I saw. And if that happens, then we would be on target for April potential start of our paving. As long as weather holds up, the temperature holds up, those types of things that have to happen when you do asphalt. And then that we have agreed to the financial piece of this puzzle. So it's a little sticky, but this is the first work that we're doing with the county on it. I believe Director O'Farrell is going to be attending the meeting as your board representative. And so you'll have a representative at that meeting as well.
Do you know who you'll be meeting with? Is it
DOT
staff level or?
It's director level, not not political, but all the directors and managers of those construction.
Ron will be there too. Good luck.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
You know,
And I know I have the board's approval of this, and I can say it, we're going to stay on the contractual amount. Or we're gonna propose this. That's what our proposal is.
As I understand from what I've learned in various meetings is, we're pretty much okay on California and Fair Oaks Boulevard with
Yes.
this resurfacing. It's Park and Temescal and Maine that are giving us the problems.
Yeah, there's some pretty serious issues.
Yeah.
And who knows, again, I'd love to say it's gonna be simple, Fair Oaks Boulevard will be simple, and California will be simple, but you just don't, right? You just don't.
My recollection from my Caltrans days is that May is usually the early start for laying asphalt because the temperature has to be.
Yeah, about 70 degrees, certain length of time.
Yeah. But there's a lot of preliminary work, for example, on those other three streets to get the grades correct and base material and all. Exactly. Okay, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.